coaching, mother and all. As promised, we are here for Tuesday tea. So in September, every Tuesday, we are going to meet up. We're going to have some wonderful tea. I've got my prepared. And I have the wonderful Melitta Campbell with me. From the experience that I have had cooperating with Melitta, she is a wonderful God sent angel to every woman out there, because not only does she empower them, she gives them the tools to achieve their full potential. And what is more, she helps women understand their true value, not only through the books that she writes, or the books that she will write as well in the future, because she is an international best-selling author, but she also has a company that helps women achieve their full potential. So enough from me. Melitta, welcome. Thank you very much. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Wow, thanks for that great introduction, Malva. It's great to be here. And I've got my tea, and as you can tell, I'm based in Switzerland. Yay. I don't know if that I'm in a Swiss chalet. I've got my Swiss chalet mugs. So yeah, I mean, I'm a business coach for female entrepreneurs. I have one-to-one coaching and a group coaching, but I call it semi-private because I keep the group purposely small so that I know everybody that's going through it, and they all get my personal time and attention, because I think that's really important. And I have spent, well, since 97, I've been helping businesses grow through having the right communication and marketing strategies and business strategies that really are appropriate for their growth ambitions, and helping them to implement those consistently in a way that's right for them, that feels authentic, doesn't feel pushy or salesy, and gets results. And I've really loved the journey. I've been doing that for a long time in corporate, and then I started out 12 years ago when I had my first daughter, who's just snuck in the room opposite me. And I built my business to allow me to continue to engage in meaningful work, but also have the time I wanted to be with my daughter and my growing family. And it hasn't always been easy, but it's just been the most amazing journey. But when I was going to the play groups and things like that, I met so many women or mums, and they were like, I wish I could do what you do, but I don't have XYZ. They always had something that they were missing. And so after hearing these messages repeatedly, way too often, I decided, right, that's it. I'm going to pivot my business. At the time, I was doing communication marketing consultancy for corporates and the UN. And I thought, I'm going to change, and I'm going to show women that they can build a business part-time around their family or around what other commitments they have, and they do have everything they need. And what they don't have, they can fill in those gaps. And my group program specifically helps them do that, and to really build a program or a business their way that gives them the time that they want, that they don't have to sacrifice their integrity, that they can really add value the way that they were meant to for their audience. And it's just, yeah, I love that process. Actually, since I've pivoted, it's just been really the best decision I ever made. So, and yeah, I get to hang out with these incredible women every day, which is wonderful.
Wow. Okay, so if I can just kind of dive deep into what are the problems that women actually have that you have found solutions for?
I think the biggest one is that we are really quite hard on ourselves. We don't tend to see our true value. Sorry.
No, this is mommyhood. Okay. Hello, sweetie.
Can you come and say hello?
Come say hi. Another entrepreneur woman in the group, in the making. Hi, sweetie. Lovely to meet you.
Easy. Actually, thank you for joining. The hidden benefits of building your business from home around your family is that I'm listening to my training while cooking and my CDs in the car, and so they've grown up with all of this content. And so this one has the most incredible entrepreneurial mind, and she's always like coming up with these amazing ideas for my marketing, and oh well, you could do this. And when she had her toy kitchen, like a little toy shop thing that she had, I mean, she wasn't just selling stuff, she was marketing it, and she was having the whole sales process. And she really,
look at you.
like, I remember she was 7 years old, she blew me away with her strategy. And yeah,
That's
so it's
amazing. See,
yeah.
I love it. Like a lot of people are trying to separate their work from their home. I have worked from home for as long as I can remember. So my eldest is 11, yours is 12. Yeah, bye. Mine is 11. And the things that come out of his mouth now, business related, it kind of blows my mind to know that he has kind of grabbed and inserted in his mind all of the things that both my husband and I are talking about at home, and what I'm doing as well, either having a quick call with one of my customers or a coaching session in my little office space. All of these things are actually being ingrained in their growing minds, which I believe that they're going to be amazing people in the future, because they had this let's say good example of what it means to be a juggling mom, and that's totally fine. What it means to
Yeah.
be someone that is all dolled up, but then at the same time, between coaching sessions, sorry everyone if you think it's glamorous, it's not. I have to put in the laundry, okay? So sometimes it's glamorous, and sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves and get dirty. And it's amazing, like you said, children learn from us. Your daughter did the marketing, and my son decided to sell cupcakes, and I thought I was going to teach him a lesson. I was going to say, earning money is very hard work. You have to do your marketing before you actually can sell cupcakes in the neighborhood. Because he broke something from a friend, I said, if you want to use your piggy bank money, you can do that, or you can earn money to buy back what you broke. So he said, fine, I'll earn the money. And I thought it was going to take him weeks and weeks to earn the value of the toy that he broke, and it took him only a day, and he got 7 times more than the value of the toy because of his success in marketing. And I'm like, okay, that is a lesson that did not go well. All right, sorry, back to you. You were saying that one of the issues that women have that is most prominent to you, and the solutions that you have for them.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to not valuing themselves and their experiences. And I know a lot of conversations I had with these women, and this was in an expat network. So I live in Switzerland, as you can probably tell by my accent. I'm originally from the UK. And they were like international sales directors or marketing experts, or they had these incredible careers before they moved to Switzerland and had kids. And they were like, oh, I don't really have any value to add anymore. I was like, are you kidding? And I was always telling them about when I left my corporate job to start my own business, my CEO at the time, who I reported to, he was incredible. He was a great boss. And I was really sad to leave that organization, because my team was amazing. He was great. The company was great. But anyway, and he was like, oh, I'm so pleased you've made this decision, because he knew me. And he said, splitting your time and your focus and attention between your family and work, because I don't think you'd ever be fully happy, and that would frustrate you. However, because the way you're doing it is going to be perfect, but because I would just want to leave you with one thing. So, okay. And he said, just remember, becoming a parent is the biggest leadership lesson you will ever have. So if you ever want to come back into the office, don't ever feel you've taken a step back. You know that you've learned some incredible skills in that meantime, and you can definitely come in at the same level, if not even higher. And I know a lot of women who take that step out of the corporate world and spend some time raising their kids do feel they've taken a step back, and they've lost that connection with who they are and the value they have to bring. So I was like going around the playgroup sharing, it's like, well, my boss said this, and they're like, oh yeah, that's true. I was like, you totally can. If you want to, they really wanted to do what I was doing, but just didn't feel they had what it took, but they didn't know what it did take.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's a big thing. Everyone's like, oh, I meet so many people think, oh, it's going to be like, I need to put in like 72 hours a day to make a business work, and you really don't. That's the beauty of running your own business. You do it your way, and you discover the strategies that do work part-time, so you can split your time between your family and your business. And so I decided that that's what I was going to do, is to really help women understand their value before anything else. So when I take my clients through my private program or my semi-private, we spend up to 4 weeks going through who are they, what value do they have to offer, who exactly do they want to connect with, how can they do that in meaningful ways for both them and their client. And it's incredible going through that process that they go, like, they understand themselves in ways that they never thought of before, and they really start to appreciate what they're bringing or their potential that they have to bring and make a change for other people. And that's really motivating, and just understanding that changes the way they think about themselves and the way they show up and the way they speak to people. And very often they're like, oh my God, I didn't even intend to start a business yet, but I've just got myself 2 clients without doing anything. It's like, well, you haven't not done anything, you've just changed your self-belief and the way you're willing to speak to people and show up and have that confidence in what you offer. And that changes everything. And then from there, we can then build out their marketing, their product suite, all of get their pricing right, all of those usual business things. But it really has to start with understanding who you are, because if you can't communicate your value, then you're never going to make those sales. You're never going to make the right connections. And to be able to communicate your value, you first have to have the confidence to do so, and to have confidence, you need to know who you are. So it's kind of like, if you unpack it, it goes right back. But that's the piece of the puzzle I see so many people missing. And even the people that go through my program, and some of them, occasionally they decide now isn't actually the right time for me to start.
And it's okay too, right? To come to that.
That's okay too. But what they've discovered about themselves in the process makes everything else possible. So I had one lady, she started her business and she was actually doing quite well, but having gone through that and that journey of self-discovery, she realized that what she really wanted to do was go back into nursing. But she didn't feel she could do that because she hasn't worked for 18 years, because she'd be being at her family. But having gone through that process, she suddenly thought, maybe I could. And she
Why not?
she had to do a small qualification for 12 months.
Like a catch-up course,
Yeah, exactly. And now she's nursing. So even though she didn't go through and continue to build her business, I see that as a huge win, because she really discovered who she is and her purpose, and she's loving it, and she's making a difference, which is really important for women. I think women really build societies. For us, it's really important to add value in some way, to contribute, and for that to be recognized. And that whole cycle is perfect for women in business, because you get that once you understand, you get that foundation in place.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, a few things kind of, whenever you're talking, a few things are popping through my head. And one of the things is, like, I had a conversation with an international client, or actually was a middleman between myself and the potential client. And he said to me, well, you know, I don't know if the customer can afford you, because the things that you're saying must cost a lot of money. And that person hasn't even asked me what the price was, just assumed that, you know, what I'm bringing is of value, and he was not interested for that amount of money, whatever that amount was, because he never asked me. And so I just smiled and said, you know what? You're hungry, and so is your customer. It's your job to decide what you want to eat. If you want a fast food meal that is going to cost you less and keep you full, but might not work from the inside out, or if you want a gourmet meal that is going to be prepared especially to your liking, making sure that it's going to nourish you from the inside, you have a choice. So in the same perspective, you know, your company and you are hungry, which means you have a need. It's your choice if you get the fast food or you get me a gourmet meal. And so, and you know, the shock on that person's face, like, wow, she values herself. I'm like, yes, I do. And the only reason why is because I had a coach once who said to me, do not value your services based on the people that can't afford your services. Value your services based on the people that actually want them, need them, and are willing to invest to improve.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of why I've got the 2 branches of my coaching, the one-to-one and the semi-private, so that the semi-private helps people get that one-to-one attention, but at a very affordable rate. And there are, for those who can't afford that yet, then I've got lots of free tools to help them get started, to understand how to start building their business until they're in a position where they feel comfortable and ready to make that investment. But most people get that investment back pretty fast, because most people, it's less than the price of having one client. So but having that accessibility was really important to me. But then of course the one-to-one coaching is the creme de la creme, and as you say, it's completely customized to them. But the group program has been based on a lifetime of experience of, I used to run women's networks. I've worked alongside female leaders. I was just writing about that before we spoke, actually. So I've got a lot of insight as to what works for women. And so there is a lot of value in there, and it works for most people. But those who want that personalized touch, and perhaps are a bit more advanced in business and need more of the leadership skills to come into the coaching, then they can do the one-to-one. So it's really everybody can get some help, which was important to me.
Okay, one quick question, because this Tuesday tea is going to be prepared to actually empower women to achieve more and believe in themselves. And you keep mentioning that you work with women, and this is your program is designed especially for women. So my question is, backing up, do you see a difference in the way women work versus men?
Not entirely. I think women work well in a community. So my group coaching is just for women, and that community, I think women really, I interview everyone that gets in the program. So no one gets in the program unless I've personally spent a good hour with them to understand where they are, their motivations, and how they will integrate into the group. And there's been quite a few women who really wanted to join the group, who would have been perfect in many ways, but they would not have empowered or supported the other women in the group. They had this feeling that they were special, they were different, and yeah, we're all special and different, but they would not have been a good fit for the group. So that's it's having that community, that a group of women who will work together, who will encourage each other, who will support each other. It was really important. And so I think that's important. And there is a certain element of, so I've worked with one guy, for example, and I'm not saying that all guys are like this and all women aren't.
No, of course, we're just from our experience.
Yeah, but he made the most beautiful greeting cards. And he for like 6 months, he'd been going out, knocking on doors, showing businesses these like gift shops and things, these cards. And he said they all love it, but nobody's buying. He said, I don't know what to do next. So we sat down and I unpacked how he was communicating, what his sales process was, what he was doing. And I shared some tips with him, and then said, okay, this is what I would recommend you focus on next. Do this, then that, then the other. And let me know how it goes on. He called me 3 days later and he had 5 clients, including a department store, because he went out that very day and did exactly what I said. And a lot of the women in my groups would have said, okay, yeah, that's definitely what I need to do, but first I want to do this, or first I need to prepare myself, or I need to know something more, or they would have, those doubts can be a little bit louder for them. But that is not to say at all that all men are like that. I do have some other male clients who are definitely share this whole perfectionism, self-doubt kind of trait that a lot of female women have as well. And there are definitely women that would like, yeah, let's do this, and would have gone out there too. But I think it's more the community aspect that's different. But in terms of how to build your business and what business strategies work, it's exactly the same. There isn't a business strategy that works for women and one that works for men. It's all the same thing. So yeah, I think women learn from other women too, and through experiences. I think that's really important to us.
back in the day, I was a methodology director at a big corporation that was had two legs. One was a school run, so they used to teach language, and another one was corporate training. And so I was the one that was responsible to make sure that I hire the right people to actually make sure that the contracts go through. And as the director there, one of the things that I realized, and that is actually backed up by data from researchers, is that when women and men apply for the same job, women have to be sure that they are aligned with the expectations, minimum 100, 115%. Men, 60, 70, okay, let's wing it. And we'll see how it goes. So like you said, women kind of, from my experience, tends to be over prepared. Myself included, I am guilty of being a perfectionist. So myself included, I am over prepared and sometimes even overqualified for the jobs that I do, because I want to make sure that no one can ever say she didn't have the answer or she didn't know where to look for the answer. So, you know, looking at what you're doing, I believe that there's a lot of potential for every woman to learn the self-worth and the self-value of, I can do it. I don't have to do it ideally. I don't have to do it perfectly, but I can. And let's take the first step.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so important, is just to take that first step. And that can be the hardest sometimes. But once you take that first step, then you're like, oh, okay, I actually did that. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't so painful. Maybe I can take the next step. And, you know, and that's certainly how it's gone for me, because I used to work in corporate, and I was quite fortunate that my first job was when I was at university. I worked on a project for a Black theatre company that was run by a woman very successfully. So that was my first experience of any kind of business, was this woman in charge. Oh, that's not true. Actually, I worked for a farm when I was younger, which was also run by a woman. And then my internship was also working for a female-run company that only employed women, totally by accident. It was just women happened to fit better into the environment. They did always interview men too, but women always got the job. So those experiences showed me that we can do anything. And then when I had my first corporate job and I got promoted quite quickly to marketing manager, and the sales director just every day, just constantly was implying very loudly that a girl shouldn't have such a position of responsibility. But having had those experiences, I just like, idiot, you know, and didn't pay any attention to him whatsoever. But when I worked in large corporate, and particularly here in Switzerland, it's not the most advanced culture when it comes to gender equality at all. And I worked in private banking, which was just one of the worst industries for that. I could see so many women who had never had that kind of exposure. They didn't have the role models to look to think, yeah, I could do this. So when I got into that organization, and I kind of started to do a good job, but the typical good job of stick my head down and getting on with it. But then I started to learn public speaking, which was a big deal for me, because I was always labeled a shy girl at school and in my family. Speaking up really wasn't my thing. But I knew that if I wanted to progress, it was something I had to get a grip of. So I went to an organization called Toastmasters. I can 100% recommend to anyone.
Recommend.
Yeah, it's great for building your confidence, your communication skills. And even like, this is how shy I was. I joined for 6 months before I spoke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, typically people start speaking in their first meeting, but no, I took ages. But even in that time, I'd already learned what it took from listening to others and hearing their evaluations, what it takes to have an impact through your communication. And communication is my background, so I knew all the theory, but actually having my own voice was something that was missing. But I started to speak up more in meetings. Started to give more presentations. People were asking me for tips at the end. Like, oh, and when I was speaking up in meetings, people were actually listening to me and responding, and I was like, oh, this is new. You know, up a bit before, but with that, oh, maybe we could sort of do this kind of approach, rather than, well, I really believe this is what we're missing, this is what we need to do, and why, like, what do you think should this be our next step? And having that bit more confidence behind what I was saying, and everything changed. So once I started to have a voice, I was promoted to report directly to the CEO quite quickly, and I then used that position to start a women's network to share what I was learning and help inspire more women to have that that role model aspect. And that's what I'm doing now with the Female Entrepreneur podcast, is to give that role model, to role model other successful entrepreneurs, including yourself, with more women in business. Because when it was great in corporate, and I think that they're doing great work now to have more role models there for women. But then when you're on the outside, you realize, oh, I'm on my own. Where is everyone?
Yeah. Where's my backup?
yeah, exactly. But I think that having a role model, having inspiring women around you, is really important to helping you build that self-belief that, okay, someone else has done it, maybe I could. And someone else to share back, well, what would that first step look like? And say, this is the first step and you can do this. Here's, like, I'll hold your hand, because people around you to show you a little bit of the path. You don't need to know the whole way, but just those first couple of steps, and to feel that you can do that. And what I've learned from my own experiences and from those of the women that I've been supporting, confidence isn't something you have before you take that step. It's what happens once you have taken that step and you realize, oh, I can do this. Because confidence isn't knowing you have all the answers or knowing you know exactly what to do. It comes from having that trust in yourself that you can figure it out. Yeah. And the more you figure out, the more you have that confidence that you can figure out the next step. So taking that first step is so important.
Yeah, I also find that what you're actually giving the women in that group setting, or what I give women in an individual setting, is that, you have this back office of cheerleaders, not only cheering you on to achieve more, but we're going to tell you where you ought to go to improve or what to tweak in order to get the result that you want. But another thing is that, before you actually take that first step, a lot of women are, from my experience, are scared that they're going to be judged for what they do. And I always tell them, you can always hide under a rock and no one's going to find you and no one's going to judge you there. The question is, are you going to be happy there? If not, then don't worry, because it's going to take the same amount of effort to go out there and either achieve success or be judged. Yeah. Are you okay with risking to be judged, because people will judge you, to achieve your success? And there's a lot of stigma with the word judge, because Melitta, you're a very smart woman, is also a judgmental statement in the positive, right? Or Melitta, you have found something that Malva should improve on. That is also a judgment to, you found something that I can be better at. So, a lot of people put the word, oh, someone's going to judge me. That's great. Maybe you'll learn something about yourself. Maybe you'll actually, get that value of, hey, I did it and they liked it, right? Or you'll learn, maybe next time I should approach it a little bit differently, and give yourself that next time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something important for women to understand. And I think partly why we fear being judged so much is because we judge ourselves so harshly. And we have this tendency to look at the women around us and think, oh, they're amazing, they're up here and I'm all the way down here, when the reality is, everyone's pretty much equal. We just all have different strengths, different backgrounds, different experiences. But if you put it all in a mix, we're pretty much level. But we have this feeling that everyone else has got it together and we haven't, which is rarely the case. It's just like they've just had like maybe 5 more minutes to tidy up the house before we came round, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's always like this. But it isn't. I mean, I kind of purposely never tidy my house too much, because I don't want people to feel
I like that approach.
Okay. This is me inspiring you, because my place is never that tidy, so you don't have to tidy up before I come.
You and I have had a conversation in the past about the quote unquote Zoom business casual, where your business up top and casual at the bottom. And
Yeah.
actually, I had a photo session today, and I was putting on my business suit, which I haven't put on my business bottoms in a long time. It was usually jeans and a business top and a jacket. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my goodness, this quarantine thing is good. My business suit is loose. I need to go shopping. So speaking about not being perfect, you know, sometimes there are good elements of not being perfect. You'll find out more things about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of my favorite books is Brené Brown's book, the Gift of Imperfection, and really encouraging women to get over this whole perfectionism thing, because it just doesn't exist, you know.
That's
Just
my fallback. I need to work on it every single day.
yeah, exactly. And it's so ingrained in so many of us, that it is like an ongoing challenge, and you have to keep working at it. But it's I think when I started to realize that, you know, other people aren't really judging you at all, they're just judging themselves. And if they say something negative to you, often it's a reflection of how they're feeling about themselves in some way, and to acknowledge that and just carry on anyway. And I think this, you know, who's it was Jim Rohn or someone like that said, you know, what other people think of you is none of your business. You know, whether they think highly of you or badly of you, it doesn't affect anything for you, you know. So you're spending all this time worrying about what the neighbor may or may not think about you, and it's just such a waste of time. And if you say it out loud, sometimes it's ridiculous. So like, there was one lady I was chatting with, and she was kind of implying that she didn't want to start her business because other people around her might not approve or might not be happy with that. And it's like, so hang on a minute, so you're saying you've got a dream and you're not going to make that come true in case someone out there who you don't even know thinks it's not a good idea. I mean, and there's like, does that sound like a sane statement? And she's like, no, that sounds completely like crazy. So like, exactly, just do it. You know, there will be people who won't approve of it, but they're just not your people. You will find the people who are really behind you, and then you'll just have this like just amazing journey with people who are behind you, who are there with you in your cause, like how we got together and how we're here having this conversation. And that's going to take you way further than holding yourself back for people who might not approve, who don't have a life anyway. I remember I had one person was really quite negative about my business at one point, and it just really got me down. And then I just started thinking, hang on a minute, I've known this person for 8 years, and over those 8 years this person had been telling me about her dream to start a business in a particular area, and in 8 years she'd done nothing. And in 8 years I was starting my third business, or my third evolution of my business, I should say. It wasn't completely new business, but just growing and pivoting and really making it mine. And it's like, who is she to judge my dream, you know? And I was like, and that I think that realization really helped me a lot. And then there was other judgments that came, and then one mentor I had, he's like, you know, never listen to anyone who doesn't already drive your dream car. I was like,
love it.
Definitely doesn't drive my dream car. And you know, the two cars parked in my drive right now are a Range Rover Evoque and an Audi TT, which are my dream cars. So I was like, yes.
Okay, and I might start listening to you, because I've got a minivan for 3 kids, you know. My dream car doesn't fit my lifestyle with so many kids being in. I'm just joking. All right, Melitta, before I let you go, because this is an amazing opportunity for me to ask you a question, what are the 3 tips that you would give to a woman to actually feel more empowered to achieve her dream, whatever it may be, to be a better mom, to be a better wife, to be a better corporate worker, to be a better saleswoman, to be a better entrepreneur, whatever you want to be. So, you know, you can do it. The question is, what are the 3 things that these women should remember, understand, or follow?
I think that those three things are nicely encapsulated in something that Brené Brown shares, her idea of digging deep. So the dig stands for D is get deliberate. So decide what your vision is, decide what it is, what your goal is, whether it is to be an amazing mom, to start a business, to go back into the workforce, study, whatever it may be. But have your goal and decide that's what you're going to work towards, because until you make that decision, nothing happens. So first thing is to get deliberate.
Okay.
The next one is to be inspired. So find someone who's already done that, or build your success circle, which is maybe 2 to 5 people who get your mission, who understand. And these aren't your close friends, because your close friends have a different role altogether. But sometimes it is, but maybe it's going to networking events, finding people through podcasts. They don't even have to be people that you speak to. It could be these like online mentors, but find people who understand your mission and who are there for you, and you are there for them in the same way, so that you feel supported and empowered all the time, and you have someone to turn to if you need help. But then to really find those people that have been there or inspire you in some way that can help your vision feel possible and exciting, and that you want to take that next step. And then the last one is to go for it. But to go for it, often for women, we have to do one very difficult thing that we aren't sort of bred to do. Sounds a bit weird. Is ask. Very often, to get going, we need to ask for help. We may need to ask our husbands to come home a bit earlier certain evenings, so that we can do some sport, or have our clients, or whatever it may be. We may need to ask for support of a coach or a mentor to help us to get that structure we need, and that learning that we need to take that next step. So get deliberate, get inspired, and go for it. So I think those are the 3 things that I would really recommend.
Thank you so very much. All right. I really like the addition that you included. Ask, speak up, just speak, open your mouth, and, tell the people what you want, get it out there, and get yourself, accountable for your decisions as well.
Yeah. In my first business, I came very close to burnout, specifically because I didn't ask for any of the help that I needed. And when I worked with a friend who was actually doing her coaching qualification at the time, so she needed a guinea pig. So I was like, yeah. At the time, I didn't even know what coaching was all about, and she was brilliant. And it became clear that all I needed to do was ask. I needed to ask some help to get more structure in my business, because I was doing it all on my own, and success doesn't happen on your own. You need a team, or you need a coach, or you need some kind of support. And I wasn't getting that. And I needed to ask my husband to do exactly what I said, come home early, like 2 nights a week, so that I had a bit of time just for me, so I could unwind and go for a walk and meet friends. And at the time, I didn't have any time for me at all. And I needed to ask some of the people in my network to help me out with the kids during the day, so that I could see a couple of clients and not have to stress about that. And just little things I had to ask. And as soon as I did it, I mean, everything transformed, but like in a matter of days. I was like, and it didn't cost anything. I just had to ask. It's like, why did I not think to do that on my own? But I think sometimes we need someone to tell us it's okay to ask, give us that sort of permission, because sometimes we do feel we need to do it all on our own, and if we're not, we're a failure, and that's complete rubbish.
Wow. Thank you so very much. I enjoyed my Tuesday tea with you. I enjoyed every single thing that comes out of your mouth. I almost feel that this could go on and on and on, but I promise to only take up 30 minutes of your time. Thank you very much, Melitta. Anytime you want to talk with me, you want to use me, you want to have a conversation, just tea without actually a camera on, you're more than welcome to reach out. I'm there for you. Thank you everyone for listening. Melitta, once again, thank you for being a guest on this Tuesday tea episode. I am very honored to be a co-author of one of the books that we have written together, and I've learned a lot from you. Thank you.
Thanks. I've really enjoyed it, and I've learned lots from you too.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.